The afternoon, you and I, no worries.
Yeah. Hey, well, we just thought we're live now, and we just thought we'd include you in our conversation where we're just shooting the breeze and talking shit. And we went, it's 1 o'clock. Maybe we should invite other people in. And you can join me in shooting the shit here with the amazing Cascie Kambouris, or if you're an Aussie, Kambouris, from the Hope Initiative. Cascie, thanks so much for taking the time out to hang with me.
Absolute pleasure. I am excited to be here, and I'm excited I've got pants on and you've got a dress on. So, we're doing well.
We've established that maybe we could start a photo album, coffee table book.
Wouldn't it be amazing?
A good idea. Yes, yes, a coffee table book of how you look under the table.
I dare someone to put a photo in the comments right now with what they are wearing under the table.
Yeah, go on, do it. We dare you. We double dog dare you. Maybe we might need to build a few more listeners but we'll just keep talking.
We'll circle back to that dare, because I feel like that.
I'll tell you as the viewers grow. Awesome. Because this really is a great opportunity. Streaming to just have a great conversation and invite other people to listen.
Indeed.
So, Cascie, look, the Hope Initiative, I went over your website and I loved it. And while we're not a business platform, what you're doing is kind of like all about what we stand for, that hope and giving people space to grow. Can you explain a little bit about what the Hope Initiative is? And second question is, how did it come to be?
Sure. So the Hope Initiative we are categorised as a social enterprise. So a portion of our money goes back to charity. We haven't done a percentage model, though. It's a little bit different. We actually offer the buyer the choice of gifting to charity. So we support 3 charities at the moment, which is Rise Up, and we do a domestic, like a toy pack for a child in a domestic violence escape house, wipes for Baby Give Back, who do baby starter packs for mums in refuges, and we do hot meals for Oz Harvest. So as I didn't want to be the sort of business that went, hey, we're doing 5% of this goes to somewhere, because I don't feel, for me, I didn't feel like that had it just didn't resonate. And I don't feel like when people do that there's any sort of connection to what you're doing. So I wanted the buyer to be able to decide where we gift, and that way that we can send them photos of us clearing the shelf at Aldi, of all of the wipes, and actually taking that to the charities that we actually partner with. So that's, that's how we've incentivized our business. The reason that we are in business is because I was homeless as a teen, and I have been the recipient of food parcels and clothing and housing, and I lived in a refuge when I was 16. So for me, we're in a position now where I can do something that is more fulfilling, and I'm not necessarily working for money. I'm working for cause. I never really wanted to work for anybody else, so I really needed to do something that lit me up. And I've had a fairly diverse career, but to get to this point feels really lucky. So I just right now I feel like it is my purpose, and it is my absolute destiny, if you will. So like Bold and the Beautiful now. But I feel like it's just my responsibility. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's my responsibility to give back to charities that have helped me.
Do you, that was going to be a question, is that when you have found yourself through trials and tribulations and hardship, it gives you a different insight, isn't it, from that other side of what it's really like. So if you've never experienced hardship and you're being asked to give, so if people can connect through your story, it just makes it a little bit more powerful, don't you think?
I think so. And given not everybody has had strange things happen to them in their life or had any sort of adversity, I mean, weirdly, I seem to kind of thrive in that situation now. And I don't know whether I actually seek adversity, which is, I suppose, sounds a little bit odd. But, when shit gets real, that's when I'm really good. Like when things sort of are falling down around me, that's when I really light up. And helping people and being, I suppose, involved in those situations and through charities really makes me feel like I'm connected. So, yeah.
Oh, it's funny you say that. You're the third person I've spoken to this week who has said, when shit gets real, that's when I jump in and go, yep, let's bring it on. Whereas, like I said to you while we were chatting, how have you been coping with coronavirus isolation? You kind of went, it's pretty much status quo.
Yeah, it really is. For me, I actually just feel calm in the storm. Others, I feel like if I can be a sense of calm though for other people that are really losing their lolly, then I'm also providing service. So, people are losing their job. I'm not in that position, so I feel like if I can give back, if I can provide you, a sounding board, if I can listen, or if I can do anything to help, then then we're winning, aren't we?
How important is hope for people?
I think the two things that we need is gratitude and hope. I think with those two things, then I think anyone's okay. Because for me, it's gratitude for every situation, the good, the bad, and the absolute ugly. Because there's always a lesson there. There's always a learning. How does this serve me? What am I going to, what experiences am I going to take from this that's going to grow my life or let me help somebody else in the future? That's how I see that.
Yeah, cool. Well, I agree with you. I think there's been this underlining theme through the last couple of months is having gratitude for what you have, whether it's a roof over your head or, even the opportunity to apply for Centrelink and get some money. I mean, there are people living in communities in other countries that don't have that. They're living in these tiny little rooms, and we have the opportunity to go.
Imagine being in isolation if you lived in, honestly, I'll cry, I don't, because people say to me, how's isolation? I live on 3 acres. Are you kidding? This is a holiday for me. Yes, I'm not down with my family, but it's provided amazing connectivity opportunities. And I'm more connected to my husband and the children than I have been ever, because there's forced connectedness. But I mean, we're so unbelievably blessed to be here in this country, aren't we? Imagine living in China or Nepal or somewhere where there's just not the opportunity to be outside and far out.
Yep, we're lucky. We have hope and we have that gratitude. Now, in terms of the Hope Initiative, you make these amazing bracelets, and they've all got these wonderful sayings on them. So how did you come up with that? And how do you come up with the sayings? I want to get a peek inside your head and go, where did that come from?
Some are a little bit more colourful than others, given. I mean, listen, I don't come up with every saying. Our biggest seller is "You've got this." I clearly didn't think that up, but I think it's an unbelievable message that somebody needs to have. When we get into our F range, that's more of the stuff that I've thought up. That's where my creativity really starts to shine. And weirdly, a lot of the F range is our biggest sellers. But it's not for everybody. But I go through a process where I think about things and situations that trigger me, and I work out the reverse of that, and that's the stuff I put in a bangle.
And then it's like, boom. So you said your F range, the more popular of those. Yep. Do you think that the F word is having a bit of a, maybe not a resurgent, but a liberation of sorts, where it's becoming more mainstream and more accepted language, or are we just trying to force it?
I'm not fucking forcing anything, I can tell you that right now. For me, fuck just rolls off my tongue on the daily, and that's probably why I could never work for anybody else. If I can't say that in the office, then we have a problem, and that's why I run my own business, because I won't be controlled that way. I'm actually surprised the amount of people that use the F-bomb now. Older people, grandma, age range, it is not offensive the way it used to be. It's almost like it's absolutely, thank you, Tina. It is more acceptable, I think. I think she needs to give us an F-bomb. Yeah. But I think there is more colourful language. There's more colourful language that has taken its place. But I use it as a bit of shock value. We do a bangle.
Even the C word. The C word is.
I use that too. I don't think I'm putting it on.
I like using them in streams.
Or together. They're nice coupled together. It's it's
or separately with a full stop and maybe an exclamation mark.
Indeed. Punctuation is key. I'm dyslexic, so I'll put it everywhere, and it really doesn't really matter to me. So,
so if we get a bracelet that it's got fuck.off.u.c, then we know where that's come from.
Yeah, you knew I did. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I did that one. It's actually funny that you say that. We did a bangle that says "off your fuck," and people were stunned that I did that. But I sold so many; it was incredible. And I didn't. I made a bit of a joke because someone said, "Why did you do it?" And I said, "Well, it's a great severance package." And I've made some jokes around COVID. If you're standing people down, maybe you can get them an off your fuck bangle. You know, getting rid of some of your old stuff, members you don't want. I say it in jest, but for me, it's about off your fuck to old feelings, old situations, old relationships. It's anything that doesn't serve you at the time. You can look at your wrist and it says off your fuck, and it's a reminder just to get that stuff away from you. And that's, I mean, I do it in jest, but I think that the message is still there and still received.
The message, yeah, it's absolutely. I think that there is not a word that I know that has so many different meanings that the word fuck does. Like not. I could say to you, get the fuck out, and you'd be like going, oh, that's an exclamation of like surprise, or you could say,
but if you say the same, but if you say the same thing with a different tone, like get the fuck out, totally different. Do you see, like, one bit of tone and we're in a totally different situation?
Absolutely.
It's an incredible word.
We could do a coffee book on that, I think, as well.
Do you think? People saying fuck on Zoom. I don't know. Like, there needs to be a combination of the two. Maybe it's one of those books where you flip it. You read it this way and then you read it that way, and it's a different.
Yeah,
there you go. We should write this down. I feel like someone's going to steal it. Not me, but
yeah. Well, I can download the recording. Oh, Tina said she does draw the line with the C word, and I think that's really interesting. Yeah. See, I think that's really interesting because, you know, like 40 years ago, saying "damn" was considered the height of rudeness, or hell, or even heck. Get the heck out. And now you've got, you know, 2-year-olds saying it.
Oh my. Okay, funny story, side note. And my husband pulled up in the driveway the other day, and my 3-year-old goes, "What are you fucking doing, Dad?" We all just looked like this. No one flinched, and seemed to pretend it didn't happen, and just went on about our day. We were not acknowledging that for shit. And yeah, no, we're not doing that. And he said it about 5 times, but he says it in context. So I'm kind of pleased at the same time that I'm a little bit.
You're a good role model.
Thanks. It's important to get you swearing right.
Absolutely. Have you had any backlash from people who've come back at you and said, you know, how can you use these words? You know, it's something that's offensive.
No, absolutely not. That's not my market. If you're delicate, you're not for me. Like, bless. There are other, like, you can go somewhere else and get something else printed on a bangle. I mean, we only do like 4 or 5 fuck bangles, and we have a range of, 40 bangles. So, I mean, if you're that upset by that fewer bangles, then I mean, you're not my demographic anyway. So, we're not looking for those people.
You can fuck off.
Off your fuck, really. I mean, you could buy one. It's a gift with purchase.
It's a gift with. Actually, we probably need to put a PG rating on this particular interview.
Sorry,
I think we've
jokes.
No, that's okay. That's quite all right.
Have we used our quota of F-bombs?
I think so. Maybe. I think there's never enough. Okay. I do find myself that when I'm doing Zooms, that I do try to be on as good a behaviour as I can. Occasionally, it just slips out because it's part of my language, and you can see people's faces go. I'm not quite sure how.
And probably more so now. Probably more so now because there are kids in the background. So apologies to your son who's eating his lunch behind you.
Oh, my God, he swears worse than me.
Does
Please
he?
don't apologise to him. Oh, my God.
I retract my apology. I'll save it for somebody.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm mortified listening to things he says. It's like, oh, my God, I'm sure that I taught you other words than those ones. Absolutely. No. So we'll move on from the F word. I'm really curious, talking about that you're homeless at 16. When you go through something, that traumatic, Is there anything that you can't face through the rest of your life, like once you've had something like that happen to you?
I don't think so. And if I was to be an expert in anything, I think it would be adversity, which sounds like a strange thing to specialize in, but I feel like that's kind of my niche. My first ever business was weirdly male strippers and topless waiters. And there's a backstory to this, that when I got married at 19 because I just felt like I needed a family, like I didn't have that unit, and coming off the back of being homeless, like I met a Portuguese guy, and they're really quite tight with family, and I was like, right, yep, this is good, I feel secure. And that lasted a couple of years, and then we got divorced, and I was like 24 and fairly cute, or so I thought, and I didn't have a date to go to the races. And I remember crying on my mum's floor saying, no one's ever going to want me, I'm secondhand. Because back in the 90s, like you got married once, like it wasn't as, there wasn't the churn that there is now. And I remember feeling like such a failure. And my mum said to me, she said, Casey, don't worry, this isn't going to matter in 5 years. But off the back of that, I built a business that was going to be like social escorts. I started a company called Hire a Hunk, and I was going to do social partners because I didn't want anybody to go through this feeling ever like I had. I was going to crusade.
Or was it Hire a Hunk?
Hire a Hunk. And I was going to crusade for other women. That was it. And, with no idea of what I was doing, like I just went off half-cocked and decided for 15 years I dominated that space, and, had 120 guys working for me. And we actually never did social escorting. We ended up doing topless waiters and bar staff and, male entertainers. But, off the back of me being so unbelievably embarrassed and feeling so lack, I just put my big girl pants on and off I went and made another business. And it's been off the back of all of these things that I've done my most impressive and things that I'm most proud of. So, I just look for the gold in all of these situations that make me feel uncomfortable and scared. And yeah, so now I'm just specializing in adversity.
I don't really think that that's a bad thing, because how do you build that callus if you don't have things that you've got to deal with in life? Yeah. And it's funny because it's only recently that I've actually started to articulate what that is for me, and why, and what I've actually been able to, what I've been able to overcome in my life. And it's really interesting because adversity either crushes people or it turns them into something amazing, like and a vehicle for change for themselves and obviously for other people. And that's why the Hope Initiative is so important to me, because I get to help other people, and I get to, we used to in Sydney, when I lived in Sydney, we used to go into the youth hostel, and we would, as a business, we'd go in with all my staff, all my waiters with their shirts on, and we would provide dinner, and we would cook, and we would eat with the residents. And I'd share my story about being in that position, and just from those conversations, like light bulbs were going on for other people. And I think by sharing our stories, all of our stories, irrespective of how bad the adversity is, I think there's something to learn from other people, and you never know what that's going to trigger. I don't know if I went off track there, but yeah, you get what I'm. Yeah, it's your interview. We can go wherever you like.
Oh, well, great. This is perfect. More fucks then.
Yeah.
No joke.
If you get too off track, I'll ask another question and bring you back.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, when has there ever been something that you faced that you haven't been able to overcome?
Yeah, drugs was a big one for me. In my teens, I found that really, really hard. I grew up in Sydney in the party scene, and just, got caught in a really bad spiral. It was years and years, like there's a gap in my memory. I just don't remember, which is really quite sad. It's interesting that when you get into that cycle as a teen, it's very, very hard. And as a young adult, it's very hard to get out of unless you have strong people around you. And I think that peer interaction is something I don't know that I gave a lot of thought of at the time, but looking back on, I'm so mindful of the company that my stepson keeps, who's 16 and a half, and I will be for my child, my younger son, as he grows up. I'm very lucky that I had, strong parents and strong role models as I started to develop a professional career and those sorts of things that were able to guide me and mold me, that sort of gave me a different way of looking at life, and subsequently stopped So yeah, that was probably the hardest thing I've ever done, and probably harder than being homeless. Would you believe?
Well, I guess drugs takes you to another place, and if your place where you live in reality isn't what you expect, you look for another way to create a different space for you. Like I've had a similar experience, and yeah, I totally get it, but it is hard. I love this idea of being an adversity specialist. Like nobody wants to go through hard times. Like it's not like you were born and you went, I'm going to go stand in the line. That means that I'm going to cop lots of shit for the rest of my life and be constantly pulling myself up by my bootstraps. But when you do, and when you parent, do you find you overcompensate with trying to protect your kids because you know how hard it can be?
I don't think so. I mean, with my little one, I mean, he's only 3.5, but when he falls, my answer is dust it off, because I can't always be there for him. I will support him. I will love him. I will do all of those things. But to be fair, maternal doesn't really come naturally for me. Everyone said to me, don't worry once you have a kid, because I never really wanted kids. And everyone's like, once you have one, you'll love it. And I remember sitting there with this child in my arms, looking at my husband going, I don't feel anything. Like what are we doing? This is scary and I can't stuff it back. And it was months and months and months. And really it's only been probably in the last year and a half, maybe, as he started to really develop a personality and we can really converse and I can make him giggle and those sorts of things, that I've been able to start to love this and appreciate it. But that was hard for me. That was really hard.
It sounds like a huge learning curve.
Yeah, it is. It is. When my mum and I had such a strained relationship that I almost wince, at the thought of parenting, and my father was absent. So I just don't really. I've looked externally, and I've got a lot of older friends, like 50s and 60s, and I really look to those friendships to see and sort of model that style of parenting as opposed to the one that I was given. So. I don't know about my parenting style, but I think because I've done quite a lot of personal development work that it's allowed me to have a stream of information that helps me. Certainly helps me with him, that's for sure.
How instrumental has personal development been to get Cascie to this point?
There is no amount of money that I could not have spent. I mean, it was a combination of veterans counselling. My father's a returned serviceman. So we actually, Vietnam veteran sons and daughters have a really high suicide rate. So I'm very blessed that because of that I get free counselling. So I've done lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of therapy trying to work out, that stuff. But also, Tony Robbins, Kerwin Ray, lots of tools over the past 8, 9, 10 years that have really helped me. And if I'm honest, probably the reason I haven't killed myself, and I don't say that in jest, but like I say that there is always someone worse off, and there's always somebody else. It's my duty to help. So, and I really only learned that stuff through service and through the participation of personal development and growing my mind, because my mind was small. Now it feels bigger. And it gets bigger all the time, I suppose.
It's an elastic band. It can keep stretching, can't it? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're sitting there and you feel that things are hopeless and nothing's changed, there are so many tools out there that we can tap into now. It's not like 10, 15 years ago where you had to go and spend a fortune on a book or on a program.
The free resources available to people right now are mind-bending. Like, I mean, absolutely mind-bending. And especially right now, and I get that a lot of people have lost their jobs and stuff. The speakers that I know, like Kerwin is doing free content for everybody. Gary Vaynerchuk, like they're all doing stuff to help people get back on their feet and to get their mind right. I mean, it's just incredible the way people are coming together to support collectively, and I think that's amazing. I think it really is really something cool.
It's been quite an interesting time, hasn't it, watching people who ordinarily charge tens of thousands of dollars for their insights and their intellectual property, as you said, that are now just going, here it is. Because and I guess this ties in with the Hope Initiative, is that if we don't give people hope, what hope is there for all of us at the end of this?
Absolutely. I think anyone that has a closed mentality or a lack mentality and is not willing to share will not do well in the new realm or the new era or whatever you want to call it. People that are assisting other people will do very well. You can't put a dollar value on support, can you?
No, not at all. And I think that if you and the people who are trying to do that are really shining a light on what their true purpose is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So is the Hope Initiative your only business venture that you've got kicking along at the moment, or what other little fingers and pies have you got?
No, I have no fingers anywhere. I have sticky fingers only for this. We had a medical consultancy business. So for the past 6 years, I've been building medical centres with my husband all over the country. And yeah, we sold start of February, and that's what has allowed me to have the freedom to do this and the security. So I can't imagine myself doing anything else. This is it. I don't ever want to do anything else unless something really exciting comes along.
Well, we're apparently doing a coffee book too.
Well, outside of the coffee book, it'll just be this and the coffee book on the side. Maybe I can just sell it on my current site. We'll do it as a downloadable PDF. It'll be a free downloadable.
Yeah, save the environment, and we could insert some video content in it. So above, below, above, below. We could have a match. Remember when you were a kid, there was the matching ones. We had to put the head and the pants together. Yes. Could you imagine? Look at the ideas. Mix and match. So you could have Lisa Wilkinson matched with Richard Wilkins. See what I did there? That was
Would you want to?
I don't know. I'd be interested to see. Be like watching a car accident.
True. Very, very
just
true.
To see where it's going. So if people want to grab a Hope Initiative, what do you call the bracelets?
Bangle bracelets. We also have mangles, which are for men.
Like a mangle.
Mangle,
like Mrs. Mangles from Neighbour.
Yeah, or manlets. It depends, because we do them in 6 and 8 mils, depending. For men, we do some of them. Yeah.
Oh, I love that you do it for blokes. That's great.
Yeah. Do you want to know a secret? We're about to release a kids range.
Awesome. Do you have an F-bomb range for the kids?
No way. We've got a new F1 about to release in the next videos. I'll tell you, it's Fuck Corona. And that is being delivered today. So, because I feel like that's a commemorative piece, almost like a stamp, but better. It just reminds us of the weird time, just with the Fuck Corona.
Oh, you can wear it all the time.
Absolutely. We got through that. It's just a bit of a up you to Corona. No, but the kids range, in all jest, I'm really, really quite excited. We're going to be doing some matching parents and kiddies ones, like You're My Superhero. So mum and dad and child get to wear the same thing, and You're So Brave, and some other beautiful little sayings. So yeah, in the next couple of months they will be launched. I'm really excited about that, because I feel like there's a real opportunity for little girls and boys to have a piece on their wrist to help them, whether they're battling bullying or what have you, just to remind them that they're amazing and they're doing great stuff. And
yeah, that's fantastic, because it's wearing an affirmation on your arm.
Absolutely.
Isn't it? Something that you can, like you said, you look at, and it reminds you of how awesome you are, or how brave you are, or how strong you are, or what a dirty potty mouth you
have. Indeed.
Now, I was talking to Cascie before, and we thought, like, Cassie's super keen to do a giveaway.
I love a giveaway.
We thought that we love a giveaway, and you're getting me and Cascie are going to come around and bookend your ears with F-bombs. No, we're not going to do that.
But if you're in Brisbane and you're within 15, 20 k's of the local of the CBD, I'll drop it off, because that's the kind of service we do. I will hand deliver. Obviously from a socially respectable distance.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm about that. Why not?
You'll throw it at them.
Absolutely. Off your fuck.
Okay, so we want you off your fuck. Yeah, there you go. So we're going to give you until 5 o'clock this afternoon. And as you watch back this video, you've got to share with us in the comments what you hope for. What's something that you hope for? And Casey is going to pick the winner, and then we will organise to get that. As she said, she'll come and throw it at you. So we don't have a problem with that. So in the comments, which are like, I can never figure it out, like there, go down there and put what you would hope for, what you hope for the world, what you hope for you, what you hope for Casey and I, what you hope for Obsessed With, or anything that ties in with the Hope Initiative. And if you want to help people in need, and, you know, it's someone's birthday, like mine in
Mother's Day,
23 days, or Hayley's, Mother's Day. My
next
birthday's
Sunday.
more important, but Mother's Day next Sunday is hop onto the Hope Initiative, because as with a social enterprise, when you buy the stuff, you're helping other people. And as Casey said right at the beginning of this interview, that you can actually pick how you want to help. I love that. I'm thinking that I need to come and visit you.
Well, you wouldn't believe my whole boot right now is full of baby wipes. I'm about to drive down to the Gold Coast after this call and drop off baby wipes and a pram and a cot to the guys at Baby Give Back, because they've got no stock and they still have mums in need. So, yeah, that's my whole life now.
Casey, you're my hero.
Bless.
Thank you so much. I think I need to get you a T-shirt with A for Adversity or Annette, whatever, A for Adversity on it. And a little cake.
I would love that. Oh, that is so good. Oh, thank you. Do you know what? This whole thing it's sparked something. So I'm very, very grateful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining us. I so appreciate your time.
Absolute pleasure.
See you. Don't forget to leave your comments, people.